early films with zombies, especially I Walked with a Zombie, 1943, it was more about voodoo and trance and Africans, and it wasn't cannibalism. It wasn't like you get bitten and get up and bite more. It was a whole different genre. More than 20 years later, Hammer Pictures released The Plague of the Zombies. Same scenario, voodoo dolls, trances. Only 2 years later, this director out of the Bronx would change the genre for what we know it is today with his 1968 film, Night of the Living Dead. Filmed in black and white for that time was unheard of. Was one of the most scariest films of its time, and still is. With a lot of social commentary, a black man in 1968 leading a group of white people, ordering them around. There were a lot of metaphors, a lot of layers, especially the ending. I don't want to give it away, but it was a shocking ending. From the opening graveyard scene where Barbara and her brother go to visit their parents' graveyard and get attacked, this was the initial connection between graveyards and zombies. Even the zombies throw rocks through windows. They used reason and strategy. Everything about this film worked. The soundtrack, the less is more kind of feeling, where you didn't need tons of makeup, you just needed it to be eerie. And the end of the film is the most startling. A little girl eating parts off her father, stabbing her mother with a gardening tool, will never leave my mind. This today will scare the shit out of you. I don't know why anybody has not made this girl into a 1/6 scale figure. It's beyond me. Horror guys. Now that Romero laid the blueprint of what's to come, in 1972, a color zombie film came out, unrelated to George Romero, called Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. It was marketed as a horror comedy, but I remember seeing this on TV with my older sister. We were scared shitless. It was the first film that I actually saw the dead rise out of graves, out of the dirt. You don't see that in Night of the Living Dead. This film actually started it. A sign of the times. It was a bunch of hippies, trippy hippies, gather in a house, some sort of seance, some mistake or so, and all of a sudden the dead rise all around them. I think they're close to a graveyard, so that was the premise of this film. And it was scary. Then in 1978, George Romero decided to make a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, using shopping malls as the hideout, which was new during the 70s. It was a new concept. And this film is the best of the original trilogy, hands down. It had the longest theatrical run. It even played during the 80s at Midnight Madness. No more matinees. This was the first film that collaborated Tom Savini and George A. Romero. Not only did he do the makeup, which was mind-blowing at the time and is still today, but he actually played a motorcycle gang member. 1 year later, the Italians said, hey, if the Americans can do it, why can't we? Zombie, also known as Zombie the Flesh Eaters, actually played in the States and was famous. There's a scene where a zombie takes on a great white shark underneath the water. I believe the film starts in Manhattan but ends down in the Caribbean, maybe Florida, maybe Jamaica, but the special effects were very, very good. Not Tom Savini quality, but still, it had gore moments and did a pretty good run in the theaters. In 1982, Romero decided to take a break from the zombie genre and teamed up with the master of the macabre, Stephen King. Collaboration on Creepshow was Romero's most successful film to date. Short stories, vignettes, in comic book form, with graphics, strung together, was a big success. If the director and the writer were in a powerhouse team as it is, it had a full all-star cast. was very commercial. If you look closely at the poster art on the boys' room, you'll see Dawn of the Dead poster, a Shining poster, and Carrie. 3 years later, in 1985, the third in the trilogy was released. To me, it's the weakest in the three, but a lot of people who were a lot younger than me love this the most, Day of the Dead. And our character, Bubba, who we will talk about in a minute, comes from this film. We'll now fast forward to 2004, where Zack Snyder took a crack at remaking one of the greatest zombie films ever, Dawn of the Dead. Not the same impact, but it's more of a heavy metal version of the story. I didn't like it on first viewing, but it's a fan favorite. 6 years later, 2010, AMC premieres The Walking Dead Season 1, piloted by Frank Darabont, director of The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. Frank Darabont got fired at the end of Season 2, but he kept it very close to a Romero recipe, where the people fought with one another and the zombies were more or less in the background. Here is Bubba in all his glory. I have him saluting like in the film, holding a gun, but we'll straighten that out. This is just an initial look at the figure with the diorama base, also created by Dr. Satan. And let's take a look at the diorama without Bubba. So we notice here, it looks like a stencil he used to paint Day of the Dead. It's very, very clean, very neat. Very, very dirty floor there, and this represents film accuracy actually, because I looked at the movie recently, and beautiful washes on the wood and on the back. He's got that chain that he breaks in the film. I'm just going to show you some of the dirt and grime, blood stains. There's like a little splatter there, and that's where the pulse, the crotch grabber goes, but he doesn't need it, and it's not attached. Better look at the head sculpt here. Quick view. We're going to go and return to this later. I have one issue with this figure, just one. I wonder if you can guess what it is. I just want to show you the collar and chain and the washes that the good doctor did. My only gripe with this head sculpt, let me get a better shot, I just want to show you the top of the head there, are the pupils. The pupils are problematic to me. But other than that, like the red in the eyes is gorgeous, and I'm going to show you before and after head sculpt what he has accomplished with his paintwork. The teeth are great with the blood, all the wrinkles, really nice job. So the image on the right obviously is the before, so you can see his artistry. He did a really great job. I really believe so. So I put old Bubba on a regular stand. Just want to look at the shoes. I'm not sure what Satan MD did here. I don't know where he got the clothes. I'm sure it's all kit bashed, but it's pretty accurate to the screen, especially the shirt. Just want to show you all the tears, all the distress. It's a pretty good job, I think. I mean, it looks like worn out clothes that a zombie would wear. The chain's a little flaky, but that's okay. Even the stains on the shirt, pretty much accurate to the film. I think there was a big black stain on his jacket also, but whatever. Just want to go on to this arm, show you more tattering and weathering. Pretty much visually self-explanatory here. Spin the guy around, show you the back. More holes, distress. It's good quality clothing though, I have to add. Just just want to talk about this gun. It's perfectly fine. Nice metal wash. Does the job right. I just want to go over the hands just quick because I kind of rushed through it before. Getting a glare on that hand. Let me try the other one. But they're done really nice. The only thing is that you gotta really hide that fucking wrist peg right there. That's the only problem. But from certain angles, you can't really see it. But they did, they matched the face. He did a nice job, So I got him back on the diorama for one last hurrah. I'm very happy with this figure, and I wanted something that represents the George Romero zombie genre. I would, of course, like Dawn of the Dead figures opposed to this, but so probably gonna have him near Pretty Woman. I've got like this horror genre thing going on. It wasn't really planned. Plus the mother and son Psycho, Lestat, all I need now is a Michael Myers.